of hard drives. Good afternoon and welcome to Die Dragon Die presents the Dread and Circus campaign, episode 13. I'm your DM and host Marty, joined by Adam, Ahmed, and Mark. How is everyone doing on this fine Saturday afternoon?
Yay!
Yay! Yay! I've updated the panels a little bit, so things are looking a little bit more orange. We've got some events that are captured in Streamlabs. I added a nice little event thing, given that we've started to see some events. Thank you very much to D&D Action Junkie, Skyclops, Foxfire, and Drakester for the last 4 events, including hosts and subs and resubs. Yay! That's awesome. Quinta, good to see you. Electrical Skateboard, good to see you. Hopefully some others will join as we get into our regular Saturday action. How was everyone's week? Or I guess last time we synced was 2 days ago. So how you doing, Ahmed?
Doing good, man.
Yep.
Not much going on. The weather's a little better. Took the family out for a walk. Slapped the kids around a bit as usual. We're good to go. Just kidding. We didn't walk outside.
Just kidding.
Just kidding. We didn't walk. Oh wow. I don't know if that we should be laughing at that. We're laughing nervously, I think, is what's going on. We're like,
Let's see if this is that's a little better, right? Here we go.
Mark, how you doing?
All right. Can't complain.
How's your
Been
week
2
off?
days. There's no updates. No updates. it's
My life
same
is that
stuff.
exciting.
All right, same stuff. What are you eating?
It's lemon jello dessert.
Is this a meal or?
No, it's whipping cream
Yep.
mixed with lemon jello, sprinkled with graham crackers. It's fluffy and delicious.
Did your mom make this or did?
Yes. There's lots of things waiting to kill me if diabetes wants it. Fine.
Get in line.
So that's your wife giving you shit for eating the shit that your mom brought over. Got it. There's no winning, is there? There's no winning.
No, there is not.
All right. Yeah, it's just been a couple of days for me. Last night, hung out with a couple of buddies here in Seattle, and then after work, I worked on these panels a little bit, and yeah, that was about it.
Panels are clean.
That was a day. Yeah, I tried to make something a little bit cleaner, and then
More
sort
space.
of bring some action to some of the cool things that have been going on. Yeah, this panel is a little bit smaller than the others, but I'll have to work with that. And then where the events are, if we do have a fourth person join or fourth player join, we'll stick their bobblehead in there. Okay, Adam is doing a caffeine run, so we're not going to wait for him. We'll do a recap of what happened last time with the Masters. As for those that have joined or are watching this, we're kind of toggling between two groups of players in the same campaign, in the same campaign universe, and there are a group of masters that are in charge of a gladiatorial ludus or a gladiatorial school. And then there's a group of slaves that have recently become gladiators that are making their way across the continent upon which the Imperium reigns. And
It may very well turn out to be like a Game of Thrones thing where you're like, when is Daenerys going to make it to Westeros? It's been 7 freaking years now. Come on.
Well, at least, like I mentioned
trying.
before the stream started, or as the stream is starting, at least we now know that they're in the same part of the year, right? The beginning of the games for a year is in the spring. There's a spring season, a summer season, a fall season, and then winter season. There are no games to kind of prepare for the next bonanza, extravaganza, gladiatorial palooza event. So let's do what happened to the Masters. Oh, I didn't even do the write-up for yesterday's game. There's no time. There's no time for these things.
Oh God, what happened?
Yeah, what happened? No. I have the one for the Masters. I don't have the one for the one we played on Thursday. So we'll talk about the Masters.
I got some Hot Wheels.
Tears over Vaddapol. The Masters visit many heads of local gladiatorial schools and houses, plus introduce themselves to the Commissar of Games and the Imperial Magister of Vaddapol, which is the city in which they are, where they're living now and where they'll compete. They are threatened, cajoled, intimidated, bribed, and greeted during these initial meetings. Magnus challenges a warrioress named Sonia to a duel while visiting Maeve's fighting school. Phineas impresses the Magister with an imperial-toned gift. An important deal was struck with the Beastmaster. Tensions run high when drunken Magnus strikes out at Nyx, and Akka follows Phineas by Ashoka's command. Yeah, so I think we left off basically as you guys were doing your preparation or your initial meetings of these gladiatorial schools, and there was some tension in the ludus, as I think Phineas thought Akka was sneaking up on him to do something. Like what did Phineas think Akka was doing when he was following?
Following.
Oh, okay. All right.
Despite being told not to, or at least
Yeah. Okay.
signed, because they can't speak the same language.
Right. Okay. So it wasn't you didn't think that like Akka was like coming to get you or anything like that.
No.
Okay.
He wasn't worried about that.
All right. So this is game 13,
Hey, Adam.
324. Adam is muted. Let's unmute Adam.
Oh,
There
I've
we
got
go.
tea.
You've got tea. All right. Which has caffeine in it, I hope.
I think so.
We shall
don't
find
know.
out in a couple hours if you've passed out or not. All right, so we begin this day's adventure with the three of you, Ashoka, Phineas, and Magnus, all sitting up at a desk where Qued is looking at you sort of angrily. He has prepared some documents that set certain things straight in the contracts, and it's the first addendum to your contractual obligations that clarifies something. The addendum basically clarifies the three of you are equally responsible for all the gladiators, slaves, property, ludus, and monetary gains of this ludus, and that by signing this contract, you have signed over any of the slaves that you have formerly held control over.
And why would I do this without compensation of some variety?
Would you like me to get a magister? We
Okay.
could,
I mean,
we could escalate to our master. I thought it was made clear that the three of you were owners of this Ludius and all the gladiators.
well, but when coming into this arrangement, there was properties that were owned by Magnus and myself that were not owned by the Ludus. These properties seem to have been appropriated within the deal without any sort of recompense involved, or even method
There is
of
a clause
applying
on
such
page.
recompense.
There is a clause on page 3 that describes that you are allowed to have your personal property and effects. It does not, however, include a common clause around slaves. How did you come by these slaves?
Gambling.
Gambling while under the employ of your former ludus?
Yes. That does not make the property of such things property of the Ludus. The contract was of in the name of Magnus and myself, not in the name of the Ludus. The contract can be seen if you wish.
Which slaves do you claim ownership of?
Well, Magnus and myself are co-owners of Akka, Vanu, Drain, Droll, Drain and Droll.
Yeah, where are
We have voluntarily added them to the roster of this ludus, but they are not formally the property of the ludus. If we are to redistribute this amongst the three of us, then appropriate recompense for our property being devalued by approximately 50% by adding a third
Then we have a
party to-
problem, as this piece of paper that you have signed agrees that the property of... that you have registered these gladiators as part of this ludus. You're making things messy, and we haven't even begun our first season. While I do not think that escalation to our master would be beneficial to any of us.
Give me a diplomacy check, Ashoka, because it seems like you're leading this negotiation. You're like, pay us some money, bitch.
Well, pretty much. Wait a sec, you're redistributing my property? What? You know what? I want this to go well. I am going to...
Use your
Early in the
rolls.
day, I'm using my powers. I'm going
Got
to be...
Just say
I'm
you're
going
spending
to-
a mythic point. See if he goes with it.
I'm doing
What's that?
I am a charmer. I will roll twice and take the better.
Oh, smart man.
Which they're both rolling 9s, so 26 or 26.
So in
Hey, Lucas.
hey, Lucas, what do you mean the panels? Yeah,
Old school.
the panels are a little cleaner.
And
Alright.
electrical. How you guys doing?
What was I saying? 26.
I did initially assess their value.
He flips in. He opens up this little pocketbook that he has, where he constantly writes things into. He flips back a few pages.
Ah, yes. Aka is untested. No, wait.
Let me open up. Dread and Circus. Stable. No, that's not it. Do I not have the sheet open? No, I don't. I need to open.
I have the sheet open.
The stable sheet.
Aka
yes, I do.
is an apprentice.
So basically, he's looking at what their tier is.
Yeah.
Aka
so
is an apprentice
They're all apprentice.
with 1 win under his belt. Droll is an apprentice.
Can you ask Megan what time tomorrow morning would be good for her?
Who is the other one?
Drain
Vanu
and Vanu.
and Drain. They are all Sandal League apprentices, hardly something that we should squabble over. I think if the Ludus rewarded you on your next pay with a stipend of a talent for each of these gladiators, that this shall put this issue to rest.
Magnus, what say you?
That is fine. Let's be honest here. Our recent display between amongst ourselves here has not been good.
We agree.
I'll be right.
Very well. There will be a half a talent stipend also added to each of your payments at the end of the spring quarter to agree that any other slaves or gladiators acquired at this point in time will belong to the Ludus. I don't want any of you starting up your own Ludus on the side with prize gladiators. I will...
Seems like a fine and forward-looking clause.
I will allow a number of personal slaves, but not competing gladiators.
Personal slaves, but not competing gladiators?
Yep. They can't be registered gladiators.
Perfect.
And given that you have made me look at these contracts again, that's what he says.
Well, this is interesting because actually Akka and Vanu aren't registered gladiators; they're Tempi.
No, they are Sandal Apprentice
They're
League gladiators.
Sandal League,
Yeah,
but they're not currently registered in the next season. Yeah. Right. Unblooded. Yes.
And as to offering freedom to any of the gladiators...
Which is the next point of conversation, of course.
Yes. I think that such approval should be approved by our master. It does say that at the discretion of the owners of the ludus, of which you are not. But I wouldn't want it to be impossible to happen. The thing is, it is frowned upon to shower gladiators with freedom, the paperwork. As they say, once a slave, always a slave.
Now, this is a relatively straightforward matter when it comes to acquisition of funds and property, but the dissolution of funds and property, are there any particular clauses about that must be understood?
Pardon?
If somebody wanted to, say, sell something that is owned by the ludus...
Oh, I expect the 3 leaders to come to some sort of accord. You have equal share, which means you have equal voice.
It's fine.
Magnus is like, I get bored.
Come
This legal stuff.
The burning daylight here. Cleaning his nails.
Like the burning daylight coming through Mark's...
All right. The final signatory that is required after a unanimous decision from the 3 of you is from our lord, and I will leave a clause in here that says that I may sign on his behalf.
At all times,
Now,
only for this contract.
For things to be practical, it would need to be of a significant value for that to be an appropriate procedure, one would assume.
Yes. The ludus would be charged the funds required for all necessary... He's pointing at... This is already covered. Like, the ludus is responsible for all legal and, like legal fees, bribes, gifts associated with running the ludus, and he basically points back to that clause.
Yeah.
It would be up to you to convince the magister or whoever is involved that this person should be free.
Oh, sorry. My question, the other question was about sales of things, including slaves, buildings, property, things of value.
Okay. So slaves, buildings, property, things of value. He said that you basically need a majority vote between the 3 of you.
All right. That's...
You guys get to do whatever do whatever you want.
Sell your house, bitch. Your shack is sold.
everything in your room. You're pretty sure that you could get into trouble. They are still technically your employers, but yeah, they've given you run of this place.
All right.
All right, are we done here?
He does give you basically a single kind of stamp that represents the official seal of your ludus. You may want to put that on somebody's character sheet or somewhere.
Ashoka is putting it on his character sheet.
Okay.
Unless anybody is telling him not to, in which case he's still doing it, but we'll talk about it.
I think Mark's chair might
Yeah,
might be going, I don't know
Magnus
about
looks
that.
at it. Magnus looks at it, it's like...
It's just this big kind of hand stamp that you just basically has the symbol of the House Ludus.
Magnus is wondering if
the
he can
Conclave of
make
Crimson
one, to,
Sands.
make one to punch someone in the head with.
Yeah, it's a heavy
Like
enough
a
paperweight
stamp?
that it could probably
Like a
be.
stamp.
Magnus like, I wonder if this would be a good brass knuckles. Yeah, it could probably be a 1D, a 1D1 or 1D2 improvised weapon. Stab someone in the forehead. It's made out of metal. Has some rubbery bit at the end, but.
All right.
So I'm gonna mark down funds owed under master's loot. What did I say? talent for each of the gladiators. So that's so Magnus, Ashoka, 2 talents, and then Phineas, and then 500 gold pieces.
Talent per paycheck.
500 gold pieces and 500 gold pieces. All right. Funds owed by spring will be your regular salary, and there is a way to figure out the salary. Effectively, your salary is a talent per level.
Oh, we need to do something to get gear, because that's not going to cut it.
Right.
Our salary is
your salary is a talent per level per season. So by the end of the year, you should make something like 12,000 gold at your current level.
Oh, that's not... Oh, never mind.
right, but we can go and have fights on our own and make plans and deals on our own.
Yeah. Yes. There are official channels, and if you start to, like, you know that Qued is going to watch to see if the Ludus is making no money and you're making all of the money. That there's probably provisions in this really long legal document that make that not so. He's already shoring up this hole where, oh, you own gladiators and you're pretending that they're part of our Ludus. Yeah, that's not a thing.
Now, you should read up about the sponsorship of gladiators. This is something that you should consider doing. There are a lot of people out there that have a lot of money but don't have the resources or know how to run a ludus themselves. However, a popular thing to do is to match those deep pockets with specific gladiators that they can know that they have sponsored, covered the cost of their training, and perhaps occasionally entertained themselves with. It's a difficult thing to do, but it is a sign of prestige among many of the Imperials to quasi-own a gladiator. This contract here is a standard template for such sponsorship model. I'm sure you may want to, when I'm not around, to do your legal work.
Oh, you're doing a fine job. Only a few mistakes so far.
His eyes narrow, but he's still hiding from the conversation. Like he's hiding behind the desk. You don't think you've ever seen him in his 100% total.
How long is your face? I can't see you.
You can see enough of me.
All the way to the floor.
The constant cover, always basically like within hiding. He can always roll to hide. Is basically what he. Yeah, exactly. He's got cover. He can roll to hide.
Yes, Ashoka. We are all aware of your ambition.
Ashoka gives a
What the hell does that mean?
Who, me? Ooh.
Right. It's probably why Ashoka was selected. We need a scheming money guy. I have just the guy.
He happens to actually be a snake.
Right. Funny.
How many days do we have before the arena?
We'll say you've got 3 days before the arena. There's still a couple of before the opening events, so you do have a tiny bit of time before you actually have to put gladiators onto the sands in the opening spring events.
So that's not okay. So that's obviously not enough time to do any sort of training, like official training or leveling.
Training
or
block
like
is
that.
5 days.
Nope. You are exercising and making sure that your gladiators are fine. Akai will say this is the next day. He's slowly recovering from his
Beatening.
Yep.
All right.
Okay. Qued just
a quick fresher in my mind. Our guy is going to fight a bunch of common criminals. Every fight after this point, we're going to owe talent to the Magister, or the games guy. We are taking the Red Dragon, and we are going to have him trained by the Beastmaster, because he's a happy-go-lucky, chaotic
Can you summarize the first one a little bit better? So,
Oh, sorry.
So within the first,
In the first day of games, Prentice Pennywise is going to be fighting common criminals to have him blooded. Every fight using Prentice Pennywise after this first fight will cost us 1 talent to be paid to the Commissioner of Games.
yep.
We have a additional fight with that we were going to go talk to Magnus about. Magnus is going to be fighting with some of his troops against the Beast Tamers, drow riding a...
Drace and Displacer Beast
Yes, Drace and Displacer Beast.
is a 3-on-1 match, I believe.
Oh, I think we said 4. It was like 3 plus Magnus.
Okay.
I think that's what I asked for. He wanted 3-on-1. We said our guys really suck. We'll do Magnus plus 3.
Okay.
What was
Wait,
our
what?
counter-proposal?
what?
You agreed to it.
And then you agreed to sacrifice somebody to the knights.
Yeah, but that was by the end of the season.
Right.
So it might not be in the first week.
Got it.
And then we unfortunately said we didn't want to sacrifice our criminal to the Direfant or the Megafant or whatever, the Superfant.
So basically, you only have 2 fights in the opening of the games. Prentice, a series of fights from Prentice, and then the 4-on-1 Drace versus a Displacer Beast.
Yes. So like our upcoming fights are, which is the reason why I was doing this is to get us to prepare for those fights.
Mm-hmm. Are there any other fights that you want to do in the first 5-day block of the season?
Let's just take a quick peek at our stable.
Because now would be the time to arrange them, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Uh,
So I guess this is now that Magnus is no longer fucking hammered. We're
He's
now
only been a
convincing
week.
him that he's already agreed to this fight, and
He's like, hold on, I get to fight the beast and the drow.
yes, but
Yeah.
you'll bring 3 of your warriors with you.
Oh, it's unfair, but fine. I'll go and kill him. Are we killing him?
No.
Like, here you go, a 0th level peasant. Good luck impressing the crowd with that, exactly.
No, Kenta, we'll find somebody who's like, we need somebody who's really hyped up for that. We'll do something. Who would you like with you? Also, we probably should learn a little bit about the displacer beasts.
Yeah, who are you taking in the 4-on-1 combat versus Drace and the Displacer Beast, Ahmed?
Yeah, don't put the pressure on at all.
You only have 3 other gladiators that you can take. So
you can take Tempe.
Sona, Droll, and Drain.
Do we... Wait a sec. When we use Tempe, do we have to demote a gladiator to use a Tempe, or...
Yeah, you've registered 4 slots. It's like you've got 4 slots on your roster. There has to be
5.
we
registered
5.
Magnus.
That's right. There has to be a reason why somebody else couldn't fight.
No, I'm busy.
Oh, so we can't just, like, keep using half and Tempe and trying to keep
They
everybody
could be on
fresh?
injured. They could be on injured reserve, or you could sell them, or they could die.
Okay, so we can put them on injury, right?
Yep.
Training injury, right?
Yep.
Well, all right. We go outside.
Okay, so
we,
where's that list?
Give Sona hangnails, and then he's on injury list. Yeah.
Yeah, Sona's not going. So we've got
Drakester is saying, "Get Snowbeard to Vaddapol to make him face the knight." Yep. The masters in the Vaddapol Ludus don't own Snowbeard yet.
we've got Drain. Okay, so
I like how Drakester thinks.
Drain, Dull, and Sona.
All right, is Magnus
was
making this
N.
decision in front of the other masters, or is he talking to the gladiators, or is he doing this independently? Qued has decided that he's had enough with you guys for the day and has disappeared into his room with a bunch of
Phineas
documents.
is tasked with learning about displacer beasts.
Yeah.
Whether he does that
I'm gonna
task is
stick
up to
with
him.
Choka.
Okay, so
Choka.
Phineas basically says you could choose which gladiators to fight. He doesn't really care. Do make us some money, though, is what he says. And remember, the money we make... Yes. You know what I mean.
Yeah. We're gonna sit with the Choka and chat about this.
All right.
Okay. Right, so obviously I'm taking Draw with me. Look at that guy, he's super strong.
You're still bleeding a little bit. Do you want Phineas to help you with that?
Yeah, by the next
Fine,
morning,
fine.
you would have recovered 44 hit points. You've got 56 damage.
Hey guys, give me 1 minute. 1 minute.
He's gonna
Okay.
go out. You haven't muted, so if you're gonna, there we go.
And I think he only got 1 int damage, so your int damage is is back.
All right. So I'm not going to roleplay with Magnus when Magnus isn't here to roleplay with, or when our perfect. I
Done. All right.
All right.
Yeah, good. All right. Okay. Excuse me. All right. What we've got here?
Who? Phineas, we need extracts from Magnus. He's bleeding all over everything.
You can tell
Yeah,
Magnus.
no, seriously.
Tell Magnus that I've used his extracts on my bird today. Maybe tomorrow.
Magnus, you do understand that right now Phineas is your healer, right?
Does he understand that he shouldn't bring a bird to a barbarian who's drinking and is pissed off at the bird?
I think he understands that now. Lessons learned all around, I suppose.
We need to have a talk between all of us.
I think that was just the talk.
All right. All right. Well, I'll have to heal before I get in there. But listen, we need.
You have 3 days to make friends with Phineas.
No, he better heal me. That's Al.
Ah,
So,
please.
Sona is a 2nd level bard. Drull is a 3rd level barbarian. Drain is a 2nd level ranger. And Prentice is a 6th level miserable swashbuckler aristocrat.
Bull can heal.
Bull can heal a little bit. The only one that's ready for training at this point, just as an FYI, is Fleas. Fleas has enough XP to level up
Fleas needs
to
to
2nd. So that is one of the training activities that I would suggest that you do in the first 5 days of game. You have, what are your training facilities like? Let's see here.
Oh no! If Magnus fights, he can't train.
Correct. Your training facilities right now are 2 + 1, so 3. You've got 3 dice. You need to get 1 success out of 3 dice, or use your dice for other things.
Okay.
So that's the kind of like the way we'll do training. I know that the guys on the Caravan of Sorrow automatically got training points.
Well, no, we just had
Yeah.
dude that were rolling like 86 or
yeah,
whatever.
exactly.
Uh,
The guys
So-
that were berating you for
So-
being low level,
he
Page
can
Out of
do-
Adam's campaign.
yep. Why do you suck so bad?
Hey guys, Bull can do 6 cure light wounds a day.
Okay, that will not heal you.
Let's just roll it now.
Okay, well, you can roll it out of combat, so you get 8 per heal, 8 per, is he 4th level? Yeah, so 8 per die, which is 8 times 4, 32. You get 32 hit points back today.
He's got six rolls. Six
48.
rolls. 4
Okay.
and 2.
On the morrow, then he can heal all 6, because today he only prepared 2.
Yeah.
Or
So
does
40.
he spontaneously cast?
Check.
I forget. Hunters.
I
Bull.
have no idea.
You're relying on one. They spontaneously cast. Okay, so he can cast 6 of them.
All of his seconds is,
Yep,
you know,
So 48?
48.
Yeah,
okay.
that's good.
You still need to
Give me a wisdom check.
Who?
Magnus.
All of us? Ooh, nope, not today. Wait, question. Did what's his name get any healing?
Who?
Aka just had non-lethal.
He's had non-lethal.
He just needs time.
Rest.
Yeah,
Okay.
it'll be a couple of days for him to be back on his feet. He'll be back on his feet in time.
All right.
Okay.
So, Magnus,
Yeah.
you wanted a consult on who you should bring in with you. We need to learn a little bit more about the beast that you'll be fighting, as well as a bit about the rider.
Well, what are options?
Well, you're supposed to bring 3 gladiators with you.
Dral, Drain, and Penny.
No,
Yeah.
Penny is otherwise occupied.
God damn it. Yeah, he's fighting those dance slaves.
So it just
yeah.
leaves Sona, Droll, and Drain.
Unless we bring somebody from.
Unless we declare one of them is ill. Oh, we gave him the trots. There'll be shit everywhere. Come on, we
so-
got that one there.
Vanu is 2nd level.
Yep.
Yeah, he's a 2nd level Slayer.
Aka, Bull.
If Bull fights, the fight billet does not include a beast for Bull. It's just Bull on the ground.
He would just be Bull. Just be basically hit points. And a caster. Are we allowed to cast before the fight? Can Bull heal? Can Bull buff us before the fight?
This is not a fight to the death. You'd have to go find. You'd have to go and talk to them.
All right, I can determine the rules for this fight. It doesn't require killing, although
I'm not
beasts are
planning to
involved.
do it. I'm not planning on doing that.
All right, I can go determine the rules of engagement for you.
Okay. This can
Yeah,
be done
go
via
ahead and do that.
messenger. It doesn't actually need Ashoka to go out, although Ashoka could go out if he wants. The Beastmaster is just down the road.
If this is coming from the Beastmaster, I
Yeah.
do not believe the Beastmaster would lie. So let's just ask the Beast. In fact, we're trying to cultivate this, so we'll ask the Beastmaster how he wants the fight done.
Okay. He says that it's a standard submission match, so it is not to kill. Submits are allowed. There is a signal that is known amongst gladiators to submit. Basically, you raise your 2 fingers to basically say I submit.
I cut the 2 fingers off of
or
every
you're
one of my
knocked out.
enemies so they cannot submit them all.
He adds to this little like note back and forth, these messengers that are all throughout Vaddapol, that Drace is an honorable opponent. However, you should be careful about any evil that Drace may face.
Is he like full on?
Is he like possessed or something? What the hell?
As Drace is a goodly follower of Heronius.
Oh, right.
You're gonna face a paladin. All right.
As for the rules, the buffing beforehand, you should just go out with whatever weapons you deem appropriate.
At the strike of gong, so it'd be casting.
At the strike of gong, it does say no wizards, and then there's like a definition of what wizards are. Like, there should be no wizards or cowardly magic.
Okay. So, yeah, not just I fly around in scorching ray.
Yeah, it actually says it's a melee fight.
Okay, no ranged weapons.
The ranged weapons, each weapon that is ranged that is brought into the arena only has 6 ammunition, or three javelins.
Awesome. Javelins are awesome. 3 javelins. Sounds like these are standard rules.
Yep.
We all have 3 javelins.
You could be a little bit devious, and even if you didn't intend on using the 3 javelins, have each guy armed with 3 javelins, and like that seems to be within the letter, but not the spirit.
Right. Yeah.
We
Okay.
could doing how we were doing it, how the our gladiators are doing it, which is like, no, I got a crossbow. Give me a crossbow.
Yeah. When Sam was saying I got a crossbow, you guys had already grabbed your weapons ahead of time, so I didn't let Sam have a crossbow. Although that's a perfectly good way if their rules
In the future,
are.
Sam will be like, oh yeah, sure. I use crossbow. In fact, I use 2 little head crossbows. Do I get
So
2
no pre-buffs.
Yeah.
Although once you're out on the sands, and if there's any sort of like distance or announcing that goes on,
there's
then
opportunity.
there's opportunity to do that.
Okay, then that's not a bad idea to have.
It explicitly says no outside help on either side.
Yep.
Like this.
So it's not a bad reason. It's Bull has hit points and he has magic, so he can do.
All right.
Dark
Can I do
Screen,
a
Bull Stone.
sense motive on my gladiators?
Yes.
I want to. So I've got the feeling that this is going to be like. He's going to kill evil. Right?
Give me
It's
a
kind
knowledge
of what-
knowledge religion.
I don't religion.
Okay. So
I'm not saying. I
you
think
don't
he's paladin.
know what that means, but you're getting Heronius. The word honorable was used. He's an honorable follower of Heronius, or champion of
goodly
Heronius.
follower.
Yeah, he's a goodly follower of Heronius. And he used the word, this is supposed to be an honorable duel, an honorable submission match.
And melee, so drain.
And it's kind of like for the glory of our new operating, our new understanding and,
Yeah,
sort of thing.
for the friendship for all and
Yeah.
put on a show. Yes.
So under Homeland for a drain, it says Duchy of Bafford. I read Douchey of Bafford. That's the Douchey of Bafford right there.
It's Dutchy.
Look at him.
I am the
like a
Grand
machine
Douche
over
of Bafford. No, that is not a good title for a noble. Although it's a good insult. It's a really good insult.
All right.
Like double take. Like wait, what?
All right. So he basically said that you might not want to throw evil guys against him. Is kind of what I heard.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see if I understand the personalities, aka alignments, of the new staff, or of the staff period.
Okay, so are you trying to do of your own gladiators, or of this gladiator you have never met?
No, my gladiators.
Okay, go ahead.
I never met. I don't care. That's. He doesn't like evil things. It's like, all right. Let's
All right,
try
so we'll go one by one. You want to know what Sona's like?
Yes. And the DCs might be different based off of how long we've had them. 23.
Sona has really great attitude. He is loyal to Magnus, and he seems to get along with Magnus just fine. He also seems to get along with the way that the Ludus has been running. The Ludus right now is not too strict. It's not as strict as you would like it to be, Ashoka. But it is not, with Magnus kind of pulling things in the opposite direction as you guys,
What we're doing is putting the fence far enough away that the cows don't know they're corralled. But they're corralled.
With the 23, you do know that Sona does not like Vanu and Akka.
It's because he's a big pussy.
With the 23, he also wasn't sure about his new role as the guy who gets to whip other gladiators. He did it, but he seems unsure about liking that role.
Mm-hmm. Good. He's perfect to go up against this guy. All right, next.
Droll?
25.
Droll is depressed. While he doesn't seem to be chafing against the rules here, he is just not. His heart's just not into it. You don't think you're going to get an effective fight from Droll. Not to the point where he's going to be useless, but You got bits of his story. For a year, he spent his life tied to the front of a boat.
Yeah,
a pirate
being like,
ship.
I am the prow.
And then for how many years he was in a slave galley? He's got some recovering to do, maybe.
He's got okay. We need a shrink for Drull. 28.
Drain is a warrior. Whatever reason brought him here, he seems to get along with. Let's see who he gets along with. Drain is the ranger. Yeah, he doesn't seem to like rules. Magnus doesn't seem to like rules. He's better off here than where he was before. The Ludus doesn't seem to be overly chafing for him.
Okay.
Magnus fights with them. Like, I think he really appreciates that.
16 on the next one.
You go down into the dungeons to go visit Prentice Pennywise. Prentice Pennywise has spent months now in chains in a dark room by himself. We
have to fix that.
Give me a heal check.
13.
Oh, he's dirty and pale. That's all you came to.
Okay.
He barely looks up at you, like when you go and inspect him, and when he does, he managed to kind of like try to spit at you, but the spit gets tangled in his unkempt beard, and he just kind of dribbles at you and mutters to himself.
Oh, this won't do at all.
One of the guards says, "You could probably do with some sun." These are the Duke's men. The Duke, the Grand Duke of Stygia. They've been making sure he doesn't escape. They're not terribly looking after him very well, and they don't seem to care. Their goals are not aligned directly with yours, aside from keeping him in.
Yeah, he's going to need a few hours of exercise over the next few days. He has a fight coming up.
Okay. Just let us know where and when our guns need to be, says one of the Duke's guards. It's only one that was on duty. They're doing basically 12-hour shifts. Kenny, how's it going?
1 through 4.
Ashoka right now is examining and watching the gladiators to see what their mental and physical states are. Of course, he's not a healer, so he's not really assessing their physical state too well. But this is before the spring games. Bull.
12.
He's too dumb to really get a good read on. He's fucking dumb. The happiest that he is when he's tending to his bull, and he seems to kind of whine and complain when he's pulled away from his bull.
I should have ignored Magnus when I said we should bring some books here to help teach people to read. He just
Magnus seems to let Bull just almost do whatever he wants, and now Bull is now Magnus's personal healer, so there may be
issues. Yeah, maybe we need to use Bull in that fight against the. That would be useful. It'd be a good fight for them, and then we would solve that problem, and then Magnus would have to work with Phineas.
All right. Next is Fleas.
14. Dirty Knollman.
Fleas is an animal. He seems to be in good spirits.
He's a happy beast. All right. 29.
Akka is not happy with being whipped. You don't think that was enough to push him over the edge of like betraying the Ludus or anything like that, but right now he's currently not happy.
Akka.
He's laying in a Not quite a... It's like a cell for the gladiators. They do have closed doors. The door is open, but he is not training today because he's recovering from his whippings.
You shouldn't have been seen.
Okay, he doesn't seem happy with what you said, but he doesn't argue with you.
Okay. Next.
Vanu?
Vanu.
Now I hear you cringing.
11.
Vanu seems to be training half-heartedly.
Since I speak, I'm thinking the only one who speaks the language he speaks.
Yep. He seems to be a bit lazy.
What?
You're going to want to train harder.
And then the Ludus isn't that strict, so he's kind of living in that.
Yeah. You're going to want to train harder.
Okay, he trains harder for as long as you're watching him. He hits the dummy with the wooden stick even harder while you're watching. You catch him looking at you while he's doing it. He gives you a nod.
What other running around did you want to do, Cam?
I think that's the last one.
Yep. At this point, a bunch of guards in a wagon are at your gate.
Sorry, Mark. Just Phineas was tasked with learning about displacer beasts.
Okay.
I think
and
you rolled
also
well.
told Magnus to bite him or bite you or whatever with when it came to healing him in the morning. That you had to heal your
Yes,
bird.
Yes.
You know.
Okay,
Oh,
fair
the
enough.
bird drank all the extracts. Oh no. Maybe tomorrow there'll be some.
I had to channel Mark's indignation there.
No, well done. Well done.
Yep. So I think
aggressiveness. It's not like a screw you. It's
I think you rolled. Yeah, it's like maybe later if you're nice. I think you rolled well last game for displacer beast because I remember talking about displacer beast pack lords. You knowing that they're off to the side in some direction, like you understand the displacement quality. Yeah. You know that it's hard. They're hard to hit with ranged attacks, including ranged spells, and that they're generally tough beasts, like 4 times as tough, 3 times as tough as a heavy warhorse kind of thing.
Okay, so we need some heavy melee hitters and
you know that they've got 2 tentacles or more coming out of their back and 6 legs, and we looked up that they generally don't have pounce, although this specific beast that is ridden by a drow you guys are suspecting paladin may have additional weird traits.
okay.
So Phineas is able to share this information with Magnus and Ashoka.
Okay.
Magnus, did you take the damage off your token? Your token's still showing 50 damage.
Okay, which map are you looking at? I was at conversation.
Oh, I'm on the Vaddapol map with all the masters and everything.
Okay, give me a sec. So I took 48 off.
Okay.
I'll make your house sounds like
Chaos.
complete
utter chaos.
Seriously? Oh, God damn it.
All right. A servant comes up. One of the slaves kind of says, "There are men at the gate. They are from the Guild of Beast Tamers."
all right. Ashoka goes down.
Okay. Waiting for you is a sweaty and cowled Chebagast, the beast trainer. You notice that he's got 6 heavily leathered men. Some of them are even like wearing like leathers and like metal helmets with like only like slits for their visors and heavy mitts on man catchers of all sizes. They've got ropes and nets and what look like big clubs that are that have like rags kind of trapped around them, like just in case they need to beat something, perhaps non-lethally.
Non-lethally?
They do have a heavy wagon in which there are many chains, and there are some guards that have tower shields made out of metal.
Perfect.
yeah, he's got at least 12 guys with him, and then a cart that seems to be pulled by people, not beasts.
He has a sense of professionalism about him, is what. I appreciate the professionalism.
Hello, Ashoka. He goes and he shakes your hand eagerly without sort of warning. His hand sort of lingers on your hand a little bit as he's talking. He's like, "I've made the arrangements. I'm so looking forward to this. I had dreams of dragons over the last couple of nights."
I must admit, my dreams were somewhat disrupted.
Oh, he says, pulling his hand back finally. We are ready to take control of this young dragon of yours, he says quietly as there are people walking by looking at him.
This way, gentlemen.
The Piccolo guy. Yes, the Piccolo guy is. Okay, Chebagast goes and he has a look around your Ludus. Quaint Ludus, quite nice, he says. Training on.
In terms of just for his what he's seeing, we have really good barracks. We have a really good armory, and a fair amount of security, crafting, and dragon lair. Everything else is just basic.
Yep. Chebagast sees Feed the Dragon, which is the nickname of one of the servants, basically standing on his.
Speaking of which, if you look under the Ludus, the laborers, I put up some suggestion tokens.
Oh, okay. So Mark created some tokens, or at least found some images for the Ludus-owned slaver. I came across this picture before as well when I was looking up like peasant. All right, so we'll do Derm because Derm's got a really good token. Let me just create the token.
Feed the dragon.
Feed the dragon.
Where are you? Where is he?
You'll see him in a second.
Okay.
He's the Monty Python guy.
Oh, there you are. Okay.
We'll call him Derm Dragon Feeder. He's from a long line of dragon feeders.
Job feeds the dragon.
There's Derm. He's standing up on his chair when you guys arrive. The burnt chair.
Give me meat. Give me meat, man. Give me your meat. I'm Czargon, ruler of this place.
Czargon, we have friends to introduce you to.
Friends, subjects, slaves. That's what Czargon trades. That's it. That's what he wants.
No, we have a mentor.
It's all right. We'll correct all of this behavior.
Fuck you. You correct them. They are Czargon servants. I want worshippers. I want cultists. I want a harem. And I want man meat. Give it to me now.
The flames are coming underneath the door.
Ashoka goes to open the door because that would be the perfect time to,
Okay, right as the flames subside, you could see a little like he's dug into his ground a little bit, a bunch of like scratch marks. The metal plates are holding in your dragon lair. Sargon's at the end of his chain, like almost choking himself when he tries to get at you. He almost tries to do like a little dragon backflip. I don't know if you've seen like cats do weird flips and land funny, but he's trying to do that at the end of the chain. His tail whips towards you and just managed to catch your leg. Had he had a tail attack, he might have been able to do it. Now he's on the ground scrambling around trying to get away. He tries to fly, but the chain's all caught in his chain and he falls to the ground a little bit.
Come now, Czargon. Calm down.
Give me a diplomacy check.
All right, I've already used my make friends roll once today.
Don't worry,
35.
you were never going to make friends with this thing today.
Come. Are you here to feed me? On your knees.
He's calm, but he's talking to you and demanding things. Durham's
You
using this point in
respectable
time
lunatic.
to toss in like the lamb chop that he had been holding.
He's like
He just-
throwing in a bunch of food content.
yeah, he just kind of throws in the lamb chop, which lands beside Sargon with a plop, kind of. It's uncooked meat.
That is not the type of relationship we have now.